The following is a presentation of Muddy River Sports.
It's time once again to break it down. This is the Muddy River Breakdown. I'm Muddy River Sports editor Matt Schuckman, and joining me today, two of our Muddy buddies. Muddy River News editor David Adam and Muddy River Media multimedia specialist. That's your name for today, Ron Kinscherf. Okay. We could come up with some other things. I usually have other names for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't want to let Matt come up with names for Ron. Ron's feelings get hurt.
They do get hurt.
Yeah, you are kind of soft.
I think it's sensitive.
No, soft.
Soft sensitive is another way of saying
Charmin.
No. Completely different. Some of us show our emotions. Some of us keep them inside, bottled up.
You're soft.
Okay.
So, I expect you to be soft on your NCAA bracket. I'm gonna guess you're gonna just go chalk.
Oh, not at all.
Okay, good.
Not at
all. We're gonna talk NCAA tournament because it's here. A great weekend ahead of us.
Could be.
For
some of us, it could be a disappointing weekend.
It'll be a good weekend no matter what because we get 4 days of NCAA tournament basketball.
That's true.
Now, it could be a wonderful weekend if certain team wins a couple games.
I can't imagine who that could possibly be for you there, Mr.
The one
Wonder Boy.
Tipping off at 12:40 on Thursday.
Is it 12:40 or 11:40?
It's 12.
12:40.
Okay.
That would be the Ncaa Tigers.
How much have they surprised you?
A ton.
Immense.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I went to Mizzou too, the same as Schuckman, immensely.
Really?
Yeah.
Immensely, because they went to the portal, a bunch of no-name guys from mid-level colleges, and I really think the culture,
a new coach.
The culture is the key there. I really think the culture is the key there.
And you think about it is he brings in a bunch of guys. Now, granted, Dennis Gates, who came from Cleveland State, brought a couple guys from Cleveland State with him.
Right.
So you have some institutional knowledge there of what he expects, what he wants. But then you go out and tap some guys from the transfer portal. You bring in one of the top JUCO players in the nation, and they got to mesh. It's all about chemistry, and somehow, some way, it's worked. Guys that were never recruited by SEC schools are playing at a high level in the SEC. And I think a lot of that has to do is he didn't go out and bring in freshmen. He didn't go out and go, okay, we're just going to reload, we're going to rebuild with freshmen. He went out and got transfers. He went out and got seniors. He went out and got guys with some experience. And that's what wins in the NCAA tournament.
I also think
senior-laden teams win.
I also think the maturity of the kids he brought in. Yeah. I mean, they're seniors, and they're going up against freshmen, sophomores a lot in the SEC. Yeah. I think that's helped a lot. They're a lot stronger from the guard position physically.
Yep.
Although they don't have the size, they got out-rebounded quite a bit. But I think the job he's done, it's amazing to me what he has accomplished.
Yes.
And what you listen to him in press conferences, it's just we're still not good.
But they got a bad draw, I thought. Utah State is usually very difficult.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a bad draw.
For a 10 seed, that's a dang good team.
Well,
Utah State's favored to win the game.
Not going to happen.
I think
not going to happen.
Oh,
not
okay.
a chance.
I guess Vegas is throwing that 1.5 out there to get you Mizzou people to jump on that.
That's all about money. Tigers get it done on the floor.
Oh, Lord. Can you hear the flag waving over this podcast?
Chris Dewar and I are already making plans.
To do what?
Go to the Final Four.
Oh, good grief.
Mizzou, Tigers.
Well, they've been underestimated all season long.
Exactly.
I mean, the fact they got a 7 seed.
Well, you're
expecting them to get out of the same regional that Alabama.
I don't know if they can get out of that.
Bitch slapped them the other day.
Huh?
I don't think it was a bitch slap.
No, not at all.
They came closer than anybody else.
It was an 11-point game.
Yeah. And it was 4 with.
How would you call that? No,
Alabama's so talented,
and Alabama isn't
so deep.
I'm looking at your bracket. I have your bracket, and I have David's bracket in front of me, and he has Alabama playing for the national championship. Not gonna happen. Too many distractions. They have the best player in the nation.
They have the best player, and they are so deep and so talented.
They're going to screw up.
And I think that region is the weakest of the four.
Now, here's the other thing. You're talking about Mizzou and and having such a tough road and all that. You got Tennessee in the Final Four. Mizzou beat Tennessee twice.
That's true.
At Tennessee, and in the SEC tournament.
But some of the things that I would I don't watch, I'm not Joe Lunardi watching all the games. But one of the things, there's a lot of the rating systems, the computer, like the ESPN, BPI, they love Tennessee. Love Tennessee.
Yeah.
One of the things they do very, very well is guard. And you can have an off shooting night and win the way they guard. And I think they're dangerous. I don't know if they're as good as David thinks, but they're dangerous. I mean, I think one of the most dangerous teams in the field is Duke.
But that will be a whale of a second-round matchup.
I think who they play in the second round. I even look at the bracket.
Duke plays Tennessee.
Well, if they both win.
I think Duke wins that game because they've won like 12 games in a row. And in the ACC tournament, they were playing with everybody. I mean, it was like.
But I also think Duke got a terrible draw. Oral Roberts for a 12 seed is nails.
And a 12 seed wins every year.
Always wins.
But I think the thing that's going on now with college basketball, and if you look at the whole season, is the blue bloods aren't necessarily as blue as they used to be.
Right.
North Carolina's not in the tournament.
Nope.
Kentucky got beat by Vanderbilt 3 times this year. Yep. So I think the talent is really spread across college basketball much more this year than any years prior to that. So I don't know if anybody got, like if you're a 4 seed or below, I don't think anybody's going to have a good matchup.
And I don't think there's a team, and you talk about Alabama being deep, and obviously Brandon Miller's
really good.
Really freaking good. But I don't know, even with that said, if there's a team you sit there and go that across the board, people are going, that's the team to win. I think when you go, like if you go on ESPN.com or CBSSports.com and look at the bracket challenges and all that, I think instead of an overwhelming amount of people picking Alabama or that school to the west of Missouri or things like that.
Now the research I did, Kansas has probably been declared the most likely number 1 seed not to get to the Final Four and to get knocked out early. Their ratings are not.
I would second that.
And Houston, which is a really good team, one of their best players is injured.
Right. Houston's susceptible.
Purdue, I thought they had somehow they won the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
But there's flaws there.
Yes.
I right now, to me, the only number 1 seed that I look at right now and I go, Alabama's really good, and I think the rest of the region is not very strong. Baylor is not. They're the number 3 seed. Virginia's the number 4 seed.
Yeah, Virginia.
I think Alabama rolls through that region, and I think they've got a bunch of distractions. I think they're so crazy in Alabama they don't even notice. Did you see the T-shirts that the people wore to like the SEC championship game about we're killing it in the SEC or whatever? Yeah. It's like, do you guys not read the room at all when you make these T-shirts?
They're from Alabama.
I mean, good
what do you expect?
But I mean, I just don't think they care. They're just massacring people right now. I think the Big Ten is going to have a rough week.
I think so too.
I think Illinois is one and done against Arkansas. Everybody has said all year long the SEC is the best conference in the nation. Well,
you have 3 SEC teams in your Final Four.
Yeah.
One of which incredibly surprised me.
Which is
A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're good, but
they are really good. And I took advantage of the fact that I thought Houston would lose.
Yeah.
And then I thought Indiana.
I don't think Indiana is good as.
I think A&M will have a hard time getting by Texas. Personally.
Yes, I think so too.
I agree.
Yeah, but I just the level of basketball I thought played in the SEC this year was really high.
It was,
and I thought the level of there's a lot of good teams in the Big Ten.
There's no great teams.
No, not
and
at
even
all.
though Purdue is on that one line, it's not.
Yeah. Somebody had to win that conference.
Well, they also have Zach Edey, which makes a big difference because he's bigger than anyone else in the tournament.
But who's the guy that was their star last year? Is it Ivy?
Yeah,
Ivy. He's on the.
He's in the NBA now.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
They don't have that guy. If they had that guy this year,
sure. But I think their guards are freshmen. Yeah. And I know that in the Big Ten tournament they lost some big leads because they threw the ball away.
And I think the one thing you have to look at when you go up and down the line in the NCAA tournament, the teams that have success have experienced good guard play.
Oh yeah,
which is why I think Marquette is a team to beat. I have Marquette in my Final Four.
I got Marquette winning twice.
Yeah.
I think the one thing about the Big Ten, too, is Northwestern finished second. No disrespect to Northwestern, but they finished second.
Yeah.
So I think that tells
the
you
rest of the teams in the league should be embarrassed by that.
Penn State advanced in the they were in a championship game of the Big Ten tournament. So I think that, and again, maybe they're rebounding. Maybe they'll be good for a decade now or so. But I just think that tells you the level of play in the Big Ten this year.
Do you think Illinois fans?
They were so they got to be so disappointed because I ran into so many Illinois fans this year. It's like, we're going to rock it, man. We got so many great players.
Do you think Illinois fans are looking for? You're looking forward to watching Mizzou?
Yes,
play.
I am.
Do you think Illinois fans are? I really think that they're kind of going, could we let's just stop the fight? They're hard to watch. Let's do something else.
It's interesting because there's so many Illinois fans that I'm friends with, especially on social media. You know, so when Illinois plays bad, my Twitter feed is just nothing but moaning and groaning, and I understand that.
Right.
Been there, done that with Mizzou. So,
but I think you can make a really unique comparison with Mizzou and Illinois. Because Illinois was the one who went and got all the stud athletes and all that, but they had no cohesion and no leadership.
Yes.
Gates went out and got guys that fit his system, and he got leaders. He got seniors.
Yep.
And I think that's a unique comparison between these
No
two
question.
programs right now.
Again, teams with experience do well in tournament play.
That's why I like UCLA. UCLA has a lot of guys back from a team that got to the Final Four, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
And I don't think anybody's talking about UCLA.
No, not
at least not in this part of the country.
No,
because
you're right.
You just don't see UCLA.
No, and if you watch, like I watched the CBS bracket show on Sunday night, and a lot of talk about Houston, how they didn't think Houston was going to survive. Obviously injuries play a part in that. A lot of talk about how well they thought Marquette would do in the tournament. A lot of those guys aren't putting as much stock in Alabama as you are.
Yeah, I saw them play Sunday, and I was blown away how much I liked how they're just so deep, so long, so talented.
But how many times did you see them play this year?
Maybe one other time.
Okay.
So no, I did. Like I said, I'm not Joe Lunardi. I'm not, watching. But I will ask. So the tournament starts Thursday.
Yes.
Years ago, I would be the one who would just literally sit there and lock in, and I'm not doing anything for 2 days. I'm not that anymore, but I do like watching. But do you have any special things that you do as part of I'm going to watch the tournament, other than filling out a bracket or two?
No, I mean, as far as like
I'm ordering
superstitions.
I'm ordering a Casanos.
Oh,
pizza.
okay.
I'm ordering I never order from Casanos. I'm ordering a Casanos pizza tomorrow. I don't know why. I've done it for years. That is my Thursday of the NCAA tournament staple.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
There's usually a gathering of friends that I'm not invited to.
So you're left at home watching alone?
I end up going anyway. I'm sick. I get a little text, Ron, you're not invited to my house. Again, that tells you the respect I get from our community.
Usually I'm working. Usually it's hard for me to take now, granted, it's supposed to rain on Thursday, so there's not going to be a lot going on locally as far as game coverage and that stuff. I have work I need to get done on Thursday, but the wife's out of town.
Oh.
So I will not be bothered on Thursday.
Especially around 12:40.
Yeah, and that's one of those moments. Okay, what do I do when the tournament's on? When Mizzou plays, I turn my phone off.
Okay.
So that way I'm not getting any phone calls, especially if they fall behind and then people are texting me and bothering me. No.
Favorite Mizzou NCAA moment?
Oh, that's easy. The dash for the basket. I can't remember who did it.
Tyus Edney?
That was my worst moment
ever
in NCAA history. I can't remember the guy. Never mind.
You had to bring it up.
Because I'm not going to ask you for your favorite if I'm not going to ask you for your worst. Tyus freaking Edney.
My favorite NCAA tournament moment. Well, that's a good one.
There's not that many.
There aren't that many for Mizzou.
No, they're not. I mean,
did they get to the Final Eight once?
Yes.
Was that Doug Smith?
Yeah, no. That was Javon Crudup and Melvin Booker.
All right.
1994 went undefeated in the Big 8 conference and then made it to the Elite Eight.
I got to think for favorite Illinois moments, while the
Arizona game.
The Arizona game has to be it. Even though Illinois played for a national championship, that Arizona game where they came from behind with Darren Williams and D. Brown and those guys, that was God.
I mean, as much as I've enjoyed like when Mizzou wins in the NCAA tournament, and certainly that year because I was at Mizzou, was helping cover the Tigers in '94 when they made that run. But the probably the ones that stand out to me are when that school to the west of Missouri gets upset early. Those are the best.
That's a true Mizzou fan. What's your favorite NCAA tournament moment? When Kansas loses.
Yes.
So
have you ever been to the tournament when you weren't working?
No.
You've been to the tournament,
yes.
Right? Have you ever been to the tournament when you?
I have been when I'm working.
Yes,
I have broadcast many of the games with Brent Musburg. I have been there once in St. Louis for an opening round and whatever. What is there? 6 games or 4? I got to see that. I got to see Kansas play.
You might have been
or something.
No,
like that.
Holy Cross.
Yes,
I was there for that game,
and that was not a bad game.
That
they
was
gave them all they could handle.
What I was just going to say is number
Marquette
one,
and Dwayne Wade played.
I saw Mark. Then we were at the same game. The watching the games live is not very much fun because if you have a crappy game, you can't turn the channel.
Well, there's also all the downtime when they go take the commercial breaks.
There's tons of those media timeouts. The games just take for. I just did not find. I thought going to the NCAA tournament for a round 1 day for 4 games would be awesome.
There's not much crowd there.
It's not.
Well,
What
I
you
think
think
part
it
of the
is.
other thing, excuse me, and I think as I get older, I get more like this is if I had the money to go pay for a really good seat in some of these arenas and you're closer to the action, great. But if you're sitting up in the nosebleed section, I'd rather sit at home on my couch. I can see the game better. I can flip the channel to other games. I
went once to a game.
So what if I'm one of 100,000 people in a stadium?
Yeah, I went once to the games in Kansas City. Our seats weren't great, but this will tell you how long ago. It was Arizona with Luke Walton.
Oh, wow.
Taking on Eastern Illinois with, DOB would know this, Henry Dahmerkamp.
Oh, okay.
Who was probably the best player in school history. If DOB would be a better person to ask that. But Henry Dahmerkamp was really good back then.
So you would take Henry Dahmerkamp over Duckworth?
I think Dahmerkamp averaged like 27 points a game that senior year. But anyway, we moved down and sat right behind, you could move around once after the first game of the session is over. All those people leave,
right?
So we sat 2 rows off the floor for Arizona against Eastern Illinois, and then I went with my brother-in-law to watch Kansas because he was a huge Kansas fan. He knew. I want to say they were the number 1 seed that year, Ron. I think everybody. And all the Kansas fans bought the St. Louis tickets, knowing they were going to be the number 1 seed and they were going to get to play close to home. And so we saw. I don't remember who Marquette played, but I remember Dwayne Wade playing in the game. And then there was, I think, Western Kentucky played against somebody, but it was Kansas.
Holy
Cross. And with 10 minutes to go, Holy Cross was leading. And my brother-in-law was absolutely curled up like under the seat, almost crying because it was like, not only am I going to watch Kansas lose, they're going to lose to Holy freaking Cross.
And that might have been the year I read the book that about the Patriot Conference that, who's
John Feinstein,
which is an excellent book because I don't think there's scholarship athletes in that. They may be now. But
back then they weren't.
I'm sorry. Maybe half the schools offer scholarships in that conference, and it was just a unique book because all those guys playing basketball were neuroscience majors with something in Portuguese or something like that. So
obviously, David, you have your bracket in front of you.
I do.
When you fill out your bracket, are you straight? I'm picking the team I think is going to win, or are you?
See, well, part of it is because I might have run an NCAA pool for 34 years.
Yeah.
And one of the rules in the pool is you don't just pick – you pick winners.
But you're looking for upsets.
But your points are based on the seed of your team. So if Kansas wins, you get 1 point. If Kansas wins in the second round, you get 1 point times 2. So you don't get a lot of points for picking Kansas. But if you were to pick Drake to win 2 ball games, well, they're a 12 seed, so you get 12 points in the first round and 24 points in the second round. So now they've obviously got to win, and those are massive upsets. But if you pick the right ones,
yes,
you score a lot of points in the pool that I run. So oftentimes when I pick, like for example, do I really think Montana State's going to beat Kansas State? No, I really don't. But I don't think Kansas State's going to beat Kentucky. So I'm going to pick.
So in your pool, it would make sense to pick
Montana State. I'm only going to lose 3 points,
right?
Because I wasn't going to pick Kansas State in the next round.
But what if Montana State pulls that off? Then you get
I get 14 points out
right?
of it. And so that's a lot of when I pick out my bracket, I pick it based on the way my pool scores it.
Is there okay, Ron? When you do a bracket, is there something the first thing you do is this when it comes to a bracket?
Not really, no. And I usually try to pick it just the way who I think is going to win. I don't do David's thing and worry about the point total and all that type of stuff.
But you should.
I know I should.
Well, if you're in his pool, you should.
Yes.
But I haven't been in a pool for years.
Time to join.
Yeah.
But I just do it based on who I think is going to win. And I agree with David. Well, the best team I saw all year is Alabama. And I think, and based on that, I think they're going to win it all. But again, I haven't seen UCLA hardly play at all.
Yeah.
I've seen Kansas a time or two. But
so you don't have any like, I never do this, or I always do this.
I don't pick a 12 seed. You know, just what if I think a 12 seed is going to win. But I think this year we're going to have quote unquote upsets based on seedings, maybe more than we've ever had, because I think some of these mid-major conferences are not as mid-major as they used to be, like the one Boise State's in. There's like 4 or 5 teams from that conference in, right? And
I got Boise State winning.
Yeah,
I got Drake. I got Drake winning.
But
okay.
I think that conference could really show well this year in the tournament. I think there's going to be some teams like that are going to advance that nobody thinks will advance.
When I do my bracket, regardless of what it is, whether it's just because I'm going to post my bracket on our website.
I know that, but I know one of them is going to be Kansas won't win a game. I mean, Kansas is probably a 20-point favorite to beat Howard. I know you're picking Howard.
I start every time I do a bracket, and I've done this for 25 years now or whatever, however, more than that, almost 30 years now. I will not write down the name of the school to the west of Missouri.
Or speak it out loud.
So that will not go on.
How far is Mizzou going?
Winning it all, baby. Oh. Come on.
Mizzou, Homer, Schuckman.
No, I've never done that. I've never gone, okay, I'm taking the Tigers all the way.
Okay.
If they can get by the first game, and that's not going to be, I think they can do some damage.
I think they can do some damage. This is a team that plays defense, has seniors, has found ways to win close games on the road in the SEC.
But Boise State's the type of team that can hurt them because they shoot it well, they penetrate and kick, and Mizzou collapses down in the center all the time. They're not big. This is one of the few teams Mizzou will match up size-wise, but Boise State can shoot it. They got 3 guys on stake shooting around 40% from 3. So I don't think it's a great matchup for them, but
I got them playing Alabama in the Elite Eight.
What's your?
I think Alabama would not want that matchup.
What's your favorite upset that you watched? That you were sitting at home?
Oh gosh, that's easy.
Really?
Loyola Marymount, that 16 seed winning.
No, wait.
That was the only 16 to ever win was Maryland, Baltimore.
I'm sorry. Yes, my memories.
I love
that was my favorite game.
The Loyola
kept waiting for them to blow it.
Yeah,
and they just never did.
They never did.
And
that Loyola Marymount stuff was really good
Loyola
too.
Marymount stuff was so cool.
Yep.
To sit there to watch Bo Kimball shoot the left-handed free throw the first time.
That's the one I always go back to.
I remember. When I think of great buzzer beaters, I think of Bryce Drew.
Yeah, Bryce Drew immediately comes to mind.
I watched that one from Valparaiso. I remember this dates me badly. U.S. Reed from Arkansas back in like 1980. Danny Ainge for BYU against Notre Dame.
Okay, Lorenzo Charles.
Yeah, well,
come on.
But you know what I remember truly more about that tournament was not that game. I remember the Louisville-Houston game.
Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
Daryl Griffith and all those guys.
The Doctors of Dunk against Phi Slamma Jamma, and I was like 18 years old. I thought it was the greatest thing I ever saw. That game was so hyped because it was the two best teams in the country.
Right.
And North Carolina just kind of showed up, and we've watched the documentaries on them ad nauseum, but I definitely the Louisville Houston game was
a lot of times the best game of the tournament isn't the championship game.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the same for any tournament.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
And if you get lucky to have a great championship game, all the better.
Like
Keith Smart hit the basket.
Or the kid from Villanova hitting the shot to win the tournament.
Or that Villanova-Georgetown game, just alone.
Yes.
Right.
Ed
Pinckney. And
who the heck else were those other guys?
But there is nothing better than being at home on a Thursday and watching some nondescript school you've never watched play basketball before knock off some blue blood.
You remember when the Mercer Bears beat Duke?
Yes.
Yeah.
I bought at the Q&D basketball banquet. One of the coaches was a very strong Duke fan. So I presented him with a Mercer T-shirt that night. It's one of my favorite moments in my life.
I just think it's and the amount of exposure those schools get. I mean, someone I want to say.
Oh, yep.
What was the school that got to the Final Four? That was George Mason.
George Mason.
Yes,
their enrollment skyrocketed the next year, which makes you think, what are you really looking for in a college? Hey, we got to the final last year. I'm going to George Mason.
Yeah, why not?
But I think if you're a non-basketball fan, you sit there watching, it's one of those things where, I'll apply there. I don't think it's necessarily because you want to play. I just think I've never heard of George Mason. Let me send an application there.
Well, again, high school students in that area of the United States who go, I could go here, I could go there. Oh, wait, George Mason's in the Final Four. This could be fun.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go. I think because I think a lot of kids just pick a school because it's, one, near home, two, they've seen it on TV. They've seen, the student sections at sporting events and go, that could be a lot of fun. I chose Mizzou because of journalism. I didn't choose Mizzou because of athletics.
No, you never.
And I loved going to games there. I have a lot of memories of going to, even when I wasn't working, like before I started working, and covering them. But I chose Mizzou for journalism. If I was going to choose a school for sports, I probably would have ended up at Michigan or Ohio State because we saw them so much.
Right. So anyway, it's funny.
So are you going to work from home tomorrow?
I am going to try my best. I've got one thing I probably need to go to tomorrow that I don't really want to go to tomorrow, but I think I have to go to tomorrow.
My boss has lined up 6 meetings for me during the course of the day.
Good.
Well, Zoom meetings, I hope.
No, I'll be out of the office.
Do not try to get a hold of me from like 12:40 to 2:40.
Oh, that's a challenge, Joe. Well, I'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll have to pull over on my way to Kirksville to watch it. Some random.
I had a friend of mine who was wondering, will either one of us come the weekend still be cheering? So we have a bet.
Okay.
We have a bet going on. If Mizzou is the last team it's Mizzou, Illinois.
Right.
If either one advances further than the other, the next step is if Illinois is still the team standing, it's Randy Medemeyer. He's going to come over to my house and watch the game with me because I have to cheer for Illinois during that game. Okay. If Mizzou,
I thought maybe that was an Andy Douglas bet.
That's and if Mizzou advances further than Illinois, Randy has to wear a Mizzou ball cap to one of his son's Quincy High School baseball games.
Ooh.
And he asked me, could it be a road game? I said, no, it has to be a home game. So, and that's the fun of the NCAA tournament. He texted me the other night. We got a cool, just a fun bet out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's the cool part of the NCAA tournament. Yeah, we're all involved in pools, and we'll be looking to see who does better than who, and there'll be some smack talking going on. But you end up with just some casual bets, or just, hey, we're going to bet you lunch on this game, and there's just so much fun to it because it just sparks conversation.
Is it the best postseason tournament of any sport at any level?
No question.
I mean, I think it is.
As much as I love baseball, love the World Series, and love the NCAA tournament, because so many other postseason tournaments, no matter what, whether it's college or professional, you tend to look at it and go, okay, the better teams end up winning.
Well, especially in baseball, you have best of 3, best of 5,
right.
best of 7. They're going to typically the better.
You
teams
look at the NFL
win.
playoffs; the better teams typically advance.
Right.
This is a crapshoot. I think the only thing I would put similar to that is the old Class A, Class 2A Illinois State basketball tournament. I think that's gotten so. I think the IHSA has messed that up so poorly. There's no regional rivalries anymore like there used to be. You always had the same schools in the regional around here. Always had the same schools up in Hancock County. I think from a fan perspective, the atmosphere for that.
I have a feeling that could be an entirely different podcast for another day.
I know, but
you can go down that road.
You asked the question. So I think that was the only thing that rivals this because, like you said, I remember years and years ago watching Scott Skiles play for Michigan State late at night, and I think that's one of the cool things. You stay up till 12 o'clock at night, bouncing around from game to game, and there's new guys you've never heard of before that all of a sudden become national celebrities.
Yes, and
like Scott Skiles.
And to follow up your point on that, think about all of us growing up in this area. On state basketball tournament weekend on Friday, you watch the games all day long.
Oh, I got out of school. My mom would
Frank
write
Bassoni was the voice.
My mom would write a fake doctor's note that my brother and I had doctor's appointments at like 11:30 on Friday. We would go home. We would have tuna salad sandwiches because it was Lent. And barbecued potato chips. And watching Frank Bassoni and Tournament Central, and absolutely, I remember so many games.
Yep.
Being, I remember watching. Who was the team that beat the heck out of Pittsfield?
Oh, Luther South. I was there.
Luther
for that
South
game.
was so
they had
good.
Pierre Cooper and Michael Conley on that team.
Yeah, they were. I remember sitting at home watching that game, and I thought, this might be the greatest thing ever. I'm 12 years old. My mom wrote a fake note for me to get out of school. I'm sorry to Mr. Moore, my principal, that he's probably now learning this, and I'll have to be sent to the principal's office. But it was so cool to do that. And when I try to, when I have a chance, when the 1A, 2A tournament comes on, I go home, make myself a little tuna salad sandwich, some barbecued chips, except I don't need to eat tuna salad because now on Thursday instead of Friday.
But that's just part of tradition.
Absolutely.
Amen. Well, thanks, guys.
Oh, yeah, thanks for asking.
Okay, so.
Alabama over UCLA over Alabama in the title game.
I just have Alabama winning it all. I haven't looked at the bracket that close. I just think they're the best team.
I have Marquette winning it all. So we'll see.
Over?
Gosh, I don't even remember now. Okay. Who do I have on that other side? I don't remember. Yeah. I just know that the school to the west of Missouri
is not in the finals.
And pray that doesn't happen. Go Mizzou.
Chicken Hawks.
Screw
fight.
This has been another episode of the Muddy River Breakdown. Join us next week. We'll talk more nonsensical stuff.
Muddy River Sports. Our home, our sports.